But like we were talking about at the beginning of Night Fear, it's Wild West as far as the meta is concerned.
Yeah, who knows if they have some unique thing that they've been trying out themselves that they're not even concerned with what other people are doing. They figured out that, Murky plus Tyrande is the best combo in the game now or something. No, that's not happening.
Fear? I don't know. I'm all
Trixler.
I was about to say I'm all for the wacky meta, but that's a little too.
No, I don't think we'll see anything so crazy. But I'm interested about really Zagara. Is Zagara gonna pop up?
She very well could, but I like the psychological message sent here. So coming in hot, ban out ETC first. And if you recall, that was the first ban that those guys made just about 15, 17 minutes ago. So now those guys, they're like, are we looking at a first pick Garrosh? Do we want to deal with that?
Right. Right. It's like a game of chicken. Well, do we really think they're going to pick Garrosh? Do they play it? Because if we can get it on the 1-2, that's amazing. But if we leave it open, we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. I think Garrosh is great on this map. I was having fun the other day. Just throw people right into the boss stuns. It's like your own personal, ganker. You just grab them, throw them into the boss stun. Your team takes care of it, and we're gonna see the ban. They're not. They know how it works. They're just not messing with it.
When a team shows that they know how to play a hero really well, that means they also understand what it can do to them if they're on the other side. Like you, I really enjoy playing Garrosh in this battleground because I always go for like the layup off the backboard, just throw them right into the stun, and then they're just like gone pretty much no matter what happens. That kind of engagement you don't want to deal with in these tight corridors. A smart, conscious ban.
And sort of true to what I was saying, coming in hot, just straight into Genji. Like, okay, we saw what you did. Go ahead, play Chromie, play Sylvanas. We welcome it. We're playing the Genji. We're not banning it. And so now the question is, do those guys want to take away something like an Uther this early?
Potentially. I definitely think that could be a wise decision. Divine Shield on Genji, that could be a problem. They're going to go for Greymane and Lucio. Now, one thing conceptually I want to see, Fear, and we probably won't see it tonight, given how fresh the current patch and subsequently the meta is, but I want to see how Genji fares against Valeera. Like we were talking about that 2.75 seconds of silence. That's an eternity for a Genji looking to try to E out or hit the D to jump over the wall.
It's true.
That could be rough.
And she teleports now, so I mean it's easier to catch him. I like to play Valeera when I'm just feeling full quick match, and she was pretty powerful against Genji before just with cheap shots. So I think you're right. I think she could actually be powerful in response. And I think that the Greymane Lucio response is just great. Anyway, Lucio is so powerful right now. Mm-hmm. The sound barrier is such a good deterrent. I mean, it's really most powerful against stuff like Malthael, but if you drop it right when the Dragon Blade goes, you're going to mitigate a ton of that damage. And that, I mean, they have the coming in hot just has their foot fully on the pedal here now. Arthas Kharazim, we are coming for you.
Well,
so
one thing
you cannot hide.
One thing that indirectly emboldens the Lucio pick is that we now see 3 heroes on the side of coming in hot that feature no stun or form of hard lockdown. So that means the chances of Lucio getting the sound barrier off goes up considerably with that in mind. If that was like a Muradin or something that could hit a Storm Bolt at the right moment before the sound barrier comes in, those split seconds have a huge difference to make. I get the Arthas pick, though. You slow down the attack speed of Greymane. You nullify a lot of what he brings to the table. He can be really hard to take down in his own right. But that could be a potential cursed bullet target. And I'm not too sure where the Kharazim fits in this early.
Yeah, I don't know if it is going to be where they pivot into like a Muradin and Arthas. I like Muradin and Arthas together. Put Arthas in the solo lane, and then Kharazim, Genji, Muradin, plus your plus whoever else you want in that divey 4-man. that's I think what's interesting about Arthas. That was what helped ETC rise to prominence when he was really starting to get first pick. It was because he had the flexibility of the solo laner or solo tank, and you could pick him really high in the draft and then shift from there. So we'll see, because the Muradin pickup would be good, I think, for coming in hot for the 4-man, just for those reasons you said. Any hard CC on Lucio, I think, and even Greymane are both extremely powerful.
I agree, man. I feel like Muradin could do well for both teams. Really curious to see what these two next heroes are going to be. For those guys, we got to give a huge shout out to Rob Christie for the 4-month resub. Thank you for the continued support. Enjoy that HeroesHype Hal Naz emote at my expense, at my peril. Sonya Li Ming.
So we see the Li Ming Greymane on the side of those guys. This is like Blow Up Fest 017 with the 018 gameplay updates.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty high stakes. Genji's going to be really specific about when he uses that deflect, because if he uses that early in a team fight, Poison Spear interrupts that right away. Greymane and Li Ming, they could have a pretty good time off of that. Karazim, I don't really know how he's going to hold up as far as sustained healing goes. If Li Ming's able to reliably get in pokes, his W does a decent amount of healing. Divine Palm could save someone from burst damage, sure, but that's every 50 seconds. So if Li Ming just hangs back during the objective and plays dodgeball and just pegs everybody, I don't see how that's gonna float. But we'll see.
Karazim, they're gonna go double support, because I was gonna say I think Karazim's gonna be the one needing protecting. If I was Karazim, I would not want to have to dive into a Greymane, Sonya, Li Ming, but pulling back a little bit on the dive and just going Stukov Falstad, getting the global so they can soak during the Immortal, I think is always great. But this is kind of shifted into a zone control slow game on the Immortals, and I think with just the threat of Genji, and they're going to try to soak and slowly zone out and get just edge out and experience. I think it's an interesting shift. I wonder if that was their original plan, or if they were just wanted to do something more conservative.
We're gonna see Muradin rounded out, and I'm with you. I'm too sure. It kind of looks like an audible to me. I don't think they went into this draft expecting the Stukov Falstad round out, but hey, you never know. I'm really curious to see. One thing I'll be particularly looking for is the synergy between Stukov and Arthas. A well-timed route with the silence from Stukov immediately afterwards could have a huge impact on some of these squishier heroes like Li Ming, Lucio, or Greymane. That could be a lot of blow-up potential. Set up the proverbial bowling pins for Genji and Falstad to knock them down. Outside of that, though, I'm wondering if the lockdown's going to be there for coming in hot.
Yeah, like you said, there's no hard CC at all on this team. You know, the hardest CC you have is your Arthas Howling Blast coming in, which is great. I play a lot of Arthas, and you can definitely secure kills, but when you're talking about versus Muradin, versus Lucio, people who have a lot of defensive cooldowns, they might get those cooldowns off and survive. So again, I think just execution. If coming in hot plays it conservatively, like I said, soak, and just try to slowly edge out their opponents, that's going to work to their advantage. You know, that's definitely what's going to work best for them.
I definitely agree, man. Second game of the night. Going to continue to follow those guys. They are on the left. Treebeard's playing Li Ming. Sadats on Muradin. Blue Demon kicking out the beats on Lucio. Average Joe looking to be above that on Sonya. And Dr. Frost, Dr. Jekyll, and Mr. Hyde on Greymane.
And on the right side, we've got coming in hot, we got Reb on Genji, Megalomania playing Stukov, Kroven on Arthas, Emsa on Falstad, and Tempest on Karazim.
Right now, we have an interesting 2-3 lineup on both sides, actually. Greymane and Sonya hanging out in the brush Tempest rounds the corner. Falstad Kharazim, not exactly the mightiest duo I immediately think of, but potential synergies could be there. A lot of mobility there. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
What are we seeing coming out of Kharazim for level 1? That's what I'm interested in, actually. Just Iron Fists. So a lot of people are sticking with Iron Fists. I know Insight's gained a little traction with some of the changes, but it looks like he's just going to be focusing on getting that burst damage in.
And I can definitely see that. It shores up some of the holes and concerns I have. A nice double root from Kroven. A good amount of damage gets put on a Treebeard. The silence goes out, locks in Murden for quite a while. He's going to be able to step back, though. Megalomania has plenty of mana to keep his teammates alive. An interesting little scrap there at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I think everyone's just sort of sitting back, making sure they get their quests finished. We actually have an auto attack. We have an auto attack Falstad coming out. It looks like. Oh, we're gonna have to have a quick pause here.
Gonna have a pause. That is a very interesting talent choice for Falstad. Season Marksman on a 2-lane map.
Yeah, that's
okay. I figured between double warrior and a melee assassin, well, I guess half a melee assassin in Greymane, those are a lot of juicy targets to throw that Q out on. I feel like in these tight corridors over the objective, that could have been reasonably well stacked. Falstad does have the global presence, however. This is a small battleground, so his distance is generally going to be more than enough for whatever they're trying to do. So I think Falstad's going to commit more to soaking in the lane, getting a tier advantage for his team, and then flying in there. So he'll be in the lane more to get those stacks. But this is a 2-lane map, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You know, he's thinking he'll be on the side. They really want to play the long delay on the Immortal. But sometimes your opponent just doesn't want to play that, and they want to push right up and force a fight. I think that would be to their advantage to push down the seasoned marksman farming. You know, just any of the quests like that. They're going to try to just sit back and play it super easy. But, you know, you just have to not let them. I think that's the best response, you know.
We'll see. Looks like Average Joe is back in the game, and they're looking to go back into it. Fear, I got a question for you, man. Yes. On these countdowns like this, Argus is bringing us back in the game. Do you say 0?
No. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. I'm just curious. I had a conversation with someone about that, and I was like, who says 0? Kroven's like, how do I get out of this alive? And the answer is you don't.
Yeah.
Lee Ming closes out the first takedown.
That's something we didn't really discuss, and I just want to mention quickly because it didn't come up in Braxis, but the map indicators for where the objectives are going to be spawning, I think that's going to play a huge difference in how people play around. I don't know if they're in Battlefield of Eternity, if it will show the first 2 spawns for the Immortal ahead of the spawn. That should change how people position and play around, you know, the curses, tributes, immortals, and all that stuff, because it's not random anymore, or it's not, doesn't come up as random. You're prepared for it, even though it is random.
Yeah, I actually haven't played this map on the new patch yet, so I don't know offhand. But one thing I saw that was interesting down bottom, Red Bull and Genji has a lot to do here to get some kind of value for his team, whereas Treebeard lands a skill shot or 2. Red has to try to whittle someone down with these auto attacks before he shows any kind of lethality. This 3v3 matchup does not seem to favor coming in hot right now.
I feel like you have to have Genji with the Kharazim, and here comes Kharazim rotating down right now. I mean, you have to have Kharazim to jump in and get that at least initial burst for Genji to get the value.
Kroven dares a step forward, throws out the root, just misses that. Average Joe gets pushed back behind the towers. Gilnan Cocktail just misses. Tempest, Kroven rotates down. I believe that let pass. Kharazim would have been waiting to respawn, but a huge root into a nice silence. Synergies abound. Stun goes in on Genji, though. He uses his deflect. Treebeard off on the side, looking to snipe. Once again, the root goes out. Sadet's going to be able to back away. Fear both of these teams are just going at it right now.
Yeah, well played by both teams. I mean, really just feeling each other out. Krogan taking a little bit more damage. Wow, the coordinated burst on the Genji there was insane. Was that started with a Muradin stun? I mean, just perfectly timed Muradin stun. I think he threw that, weaved a couple creeps to get that off as well.
That's gonna leave a mark. I need healing, says Genji. That's gonna be the second takedown with an exclamation point. A sizable experience lead for the team without the global in their employ. Not exactly how Falstad wanted the beginning of this to go. They are kind of holding down his top lane pretty well.
Yeah, he seems to be bullying on Sonya.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Halftime show kicked off. Reb looking to step forward, gets stunned from Sadet, who's low on mana, by the way. If this becomes a prolonged progression, the peel could be absent at a critical moment. Krogan looking to step forward, throws out the root, just misses. Gilnean cocktail splashes on the monk's face. He's like, why me? But he's going to back away and start doing some damage to the Immortal.
This right here is why I love Stukov. Ooh, wow. Big poison spear onto Falstad in the back, but he lives. Good. I mean, he just sort of walked away slowly and survived, which is great. It looks like the Immortal pretty much full health's going to go over to, wow, 13 health on Genji. Not quite enough. And the Immortal is going to go over to those guys.
That back end poison damage is enough to send Genji back to base. 3 takedowns to 0. Falstad caught out past the wall and detonated. Looking like chicken dinner. Are they playing PUBG out here?
He interrupted that barrel roll. I don't know if you noticed that Falstad begun the barrel roll animation and Muradin just perfectly timed. I mean, the execution from this team is scary when it all locks together. What I was going to say before is this right here is why I love Stukov on this map. The arm build and the zoning you can do with the narrow chokes when you're fighting over the Immortal. And even right here, I mean, just providing a ton of value and enabling them to get, the zoning they want to get the turn kill on the Lucio. And Arthas going very deep into the towers here, trying to get that finish off on Greymane, but not quite.
Dr. Frost is able to duck, dive, dip, and dodge and everything else to be able to get out of there close enough. But the top 4 is claimed. A healthy Immortal still hanging out here. One thing that we haven't talked about is the lack of
I noticed.
We'll tell your story, Genji.
I noticed that he Eden missed it and then used his trait, and I said, that Genji has no abilities left.
It looks like those guys have some detective skills in their employ also. They were able to surmise as much and were able to net their 5th takedown of the evening, or of this game, rather. Shish Kebab here. Haymaker. Oh, I'm sorry. Playmaker, the selection for Muradin. Sound Barrier, Wrath of the Berserker, and Go for the Throat. Greymane wants to take a bite out of crime.
I'd like to say standard. I'm just such an old school Muradin guy. I mean, the Playmaker's fun, but I'm tired. It's just, especially against, I mean, I guess you don't really need it against this Genji, but I just love the utility of Avatar and how aggressive it allows you to be. But I mean, if you catch that Falstad and just knock him onto your backline, he's 100% confirmed dead.
Yeah, I feel like that's a vote of confidence there. Interesting Playmaker's going to send Falstad up front into the bank shot. Treatbeard's like, this is why we took Haymaker. The surprise flank. We're getting some more chicken, man.
He said, Fear, you want to see me Haymaker the Falstad? Here I go. And just jumped in and knocked him right into the Leeming Greymane.
Silence out there trying to do what it can to stave off this aggression. Heroic tier advantage is here for those guys. Treebeard confident and defiant. It's like, I'll eat the root. I'm fine with that. Going to be able to teleport afterwards. IMSA not able to apply too much pressure. Racking up only 16 stacks so far for Season Marksman.
Yeah, and a full auto attack build going with hammer gains, where he's healing from those auto attacks, and secret weapon, where he does the auto attack crits while his hammerang is out. I mean, this is the standard auto attack build, but the auto attack build is far from standard these days.
It's not necessarily translating into value. He's got 14,000 hero damage, not too far off from the rest of his team, or on the other side of the aisle, but this Li Ming damage from Treebeard is definitely paving the way for a lot of success here for those guys. They're going to kick off halftime once again With the heroics online now for coming in hot, do they look to defend? Do they look to make their stand? How do they play?
Coming in hot just needs to slow this game down. Not that they're wildly behind. They're only about 11 behind. They are half of the HP behind on this Immortal. But I think what they're doing here is great. Try to take a defensive fight and not let Arthas get destroyed, and try to rein the game in a little bit. Not take control yet, but let them play on your terms a little bit.
Stormbolt goes out. Average Joe hits the spear on Megalomania. Silence goes out, locking in Sadit for the moment. Mighty Gus is the last gasp for Falstad, who's the first to fall. Arthas is like, I'm not going to let you die alone, buddy. It's going to be 2 for nothing. The swipe will save Reb for the moment, but the poison spear is connecting and doing work this game, Fear.
The amount of front-end damage coming out of those guys in every single fight, I mean, it just seems like coming in hot is trying to deliver the same. They're trying to take fights on equal ground, and if you look at the composition, where's your damage coming from? It's you have steady damage with the Falstad with your auto attack build and steady damage with Genji, but it's just not enough. We still haven't seen a Dragon Blade go off yet. I'm not writing them off. You get a Dragon Blade onto that Leeming in the back, things could change. But I think they need to play more defensive, but it's starting to slide.
Well, one thing that's tough is they actually did use Dragon Blade at some point in that last team fight. I didn't even hear it.
I didn't hear it or see it at all.
Which really speaks to the potential calamity that could be the back end of this game. Krovan steps forward, eats a full laser beam to the face. Falstad can't dare step forward. Does have Mighty Gust, but the top keep should fall here momentarily. There's still shields on this Immortal, Fear. 9 takedowns to 1. Those guys have no intention on leaving just yet.
I think this now, I cannot believe Sukov lives there. Oh, and the palm runs out with I don't even know what happened there. And the initial burst on Fall 17, they're gonna wrap this up right now. 11 minutes. Away.
Turn on the mature audience filter on the HeroesHype channel because these team fights are getting graphic. Another decisive victory for those guys. Every time that Go for the Throat came out, somebody was gonna feel it. I'm really impressed with their play part tonight.
It's crisp. It's standard. It's nothing wacky. It's what has been standard, which is good play. If good play is your standard and just playing to what you know, nothing about Greymane Li Ming has changed with these changes. Nothing inherently about that combo, that sort of execution is different, and it's working. It's working for them.
I feel like, Fear, this is an instance where double support is just not the way to go. Karazim took the damage talent at level 1 and didn't break 10,000 hero damage. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. And when you're relying on Genji's damage to really enable your team fight, Genji's like the spike to the bump set and spike. He really needs someone to get that steady, consistent damage to set up the plays where he can E in, get the cooldown reset, and jump all over the back line. If you're relying on him to set up his own plays.
Yeah, if you think about you have something like a Malthael setting you up, he's just chipping away. You can sit in the back. You wait, perfect moment, hit your E, you're going, you drop your Dragon Blade, and you're cleaning everything up. But when you're having to E in and everyone's at 75%, it's got to be difficult to be confident in that situation. And lots of playing Genji is being confident that you're about to go in and just mop up.
I agree, man. Also, the seasoned marksman talent, I wasn't sold on that once I saw it. I didn't see where it necessarily came to fruition. As much as those guys were in Falstad's face, there was definitely some room to get Q stacks with the mage stab build, to say the very least. It might have helped things out a bit there on the damage front, but even so, solid, like you said, crisp play from those guys. That was going to be a formidable challenge to overcome. Coming in hot. Thanks for showing up. Can't wait to see you again next go round. But we will see those guys move forward in the bracket. We've heard from our good old-fashioned Argy. The game that we're waiting on, the victor that will go on to play those guys. They're about 10 minutes into their game now. So we're going to take a short break, 5 minutes or so. Don't you go anywhere. My name's Lauren. It's been fun casting with you, Fear, so far. We're having a good time.
Hey, man. I'm having a blast. I'm looking forward to what else we got coming tonight. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. Don't you guys go anywhere. We'll be back before you know.